So, Breanna, how are you?
I'm great. This is what our third day of
This is
convention.
day three.
Day three.
Day
Yeah.
three. This is day three of your fourth
Fourth.
state convention?
Yes, it's got to
Yes.
be my fourth. It
Yeah.
sounds about right.
Yeah, because you went after freshman year
Mm-hmm.
and never stopped.
Yep. Yep.
And it's kind of amazing that after your first year, you didn't stop because the first year was wild.
First year was wild.
Yeah.
It was kind of an experience because I remember I was telling Bella yesterday, I was like, I'd been on trips before that, but that one specifically, it was kind of, I was a little bit homesick and I was
Yeah.
adjusted. Like, that was kind of my first time being around everybody together.
Right.
And like getting adjusted, especially being around the older kids, that was a little bit scary.
Yeah.
And then I soon learned after that they were very friendly people, and a lot of them became super close friends to me.
Right.
Especially, I can think of Annie especially, but
Yeah.
yeah, that was really cool to like see. I guess it was just an experience that once you see it for the first time, it's really
Right.
crazy. Like
Yes.
it's a big
Yeah.
deal.
Definitely crazy. It
Uh-huh.
is. And I think what you said was really important because and like it's always been my style to have like almost immersion family
Mm-hmm.
where like you just kind of get thrown into
You
a
do,
pool and
like
you,
a group of
yeah,
people. Because I do remember that's part of the reason I remember, like, as a freshman, I was a little bit nervous because I remember a lot of the older kids, and I was like, I don't really know these people. Like,
mhm,
they're older than me. And I thought they were really nice. Like, they seemed really nice. They made a
right,
great first impression on me. But it was just a little bit nerve wracking because I was like, wow. And it was just mini freshman me, like, nothing like the person I am today, very different.
right,
And it was just, it was a new thing. And I was like, okay, this is a little bit out of my
yeah,
comfort zone. And like that was my first time kind of getting to know JJ too. So
right,
we were becoming friends around that time.
mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely and you said that you're a different person, and you
Yes.
are,
Yeah.
but
But
like core Brianna was still there.
she was still there. She
Yeah,
was just not fully, she was learning how to let it show, I guess.
right,
Let herself shine. Because I was, I was more reserved, obviously,
yeah,
more reserved. Just I've had a lot of growth and I'm thankful for that. So
mhm. Yeah, absolutely. I feel like a good high school experience just takes like if it's done correctly, it takes like the core you
mhm.
and it just makes that the best it can be.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Because we don't, and it's like never been my job, or I've never felt like it was my job to change you,
Mhm.
and you being
Yeah.
plural. Like I'm
Mhm.
not trying to change kids, I'm trying to make them the best they
Exactly.
can be.
Yeah.
Because you are built on just life experiences and so many things that make you
Mhm.
you. If we try to take that away, then it's not,
Yeah.
you're never going to be a good someone else.
Mhm. That's right. Mhm.
So that year is like burned in my brain.
Mhm.
Like that convention experience is just like permanently imprinted
Yeah.
on me.
Same.
Yeah, for
Mhm.
several reasons, and it
Yeah.
was wild.
It was. It was. Yeah.
But then the next year, it changed a little bit.
Yeah. I'm going back. Like I'm thinking,
Yeah,
yeah, it was different.
it was
It was
different.
different.
Do you remember anything specific about?
Was that okay? Was that the year we had, or was that last year when we had the first conduct team?
So we have had a conduct team. I think this is the first year where we personally did not have a conduct team.
Yeah, because I think that was the year it was like Gustavo and them, and then last
Yes.
year was like the sophomores.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes,
And
I do
so it
remember
was the
that.
Gustavo
Yeah,
year.
and we stayed here at this hotel,
We
right?
did.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Uh, that year was kind of crazy.
It was. I'm thinking back, and that was Annie's year, or
So that was the year they
they
were state officers.
they were state
Yeah,
officers. Yeah,
because your freshman year,
they were
they were running.
running.
They were going
Yeah,
through the nominating committee process, and so Lauren and Annie were state officers acting at your sophomore convention.
yeah.
And some things that really stand out to me, and again, this was something that Bethany and I had talked about, was we remembered getting kicked out of the lobby at like 10:15 one night because we were waiting on DoorDash.
Yes, she did say that. She did say that.
And I remember it so much because, it's a very open lobby. It's one of my
Yes.
favorite hotel
I do
lobbies.
love this hotel lobby. It's
Yeah,
a vibe. Like
it's a
it's going.
and it's so flowing.
It
There's so
is.
much
Yeah, there's a lot of
space.
rooms. We're like, I love
Yeah,
that.
and I remember there being two people, I would say 150 feet away from us,
Mhm.
like over half a football field.
Okay. Yeah.
Like half a
Yeah,
football
that
field.
sounds right.
I was trying to get my math right, but
Mhm.
yeah, half a football field away from us, and we are sitting on the couches by the door, and it was one of those things. Ride came down and be like, "Hey guys, we gotta," and they're like, "Oh, we're waiting on our $30 canes purchase or whatever," and I was like, "Okay, I I mean whatever, we'll wait." And
Mhm.
so I waited with them because they were breaking our like the curfew that we have, and I was like, "Okay, I'll wait." And the lady at the front desk was like, y'all have got to get out of here. And I was like,
Ooh.
it's like, I'm sorry, I'm the adult. Like, I'm not saying that we
Mhm.
have special privileges, but I
Yeah.
am. They're being adulted right now. Like, they're being monitored.
Mm.
And she was like, no, like we have a curfew. Y'all have to be upstairs because we have working people down here. They come in off the airplane and then they wait here. And I looked, there were legit two people half a football field away
Oh
from
my gosh.
us. I was like, yes, ma'am. Yes,
Wow.
ma'am. I was like, we did order 6 chicken strips and she's like, as soon as it gets here. I'm like, as soon as it gets here, we'll leave. I promise.
Wow.
Uh,
Yeah, stories like that you don't forget. Like
yeah,
just the funny
right.
ones. Where it's just like really like
Yeah. And like that one is so ridiculous. I was like,
it is kind of
yeah.
ridiculous. I will agree. Yeah, there's always something with DoorDash, anyways. Too.
Yes.
Just goes back to DoorDash because I'm not a fan of DoorDash anymore. Like I've had multiple experiences, and plus it's overpriced. Just my
Yes.
opinion.
Yes. Yeah, no doubt. So that's like really, I I remember the conduct team
Mm,
that year. It was a fun conduct team.
yeah.
Bella was the president of that
Mm.
conduct team, and it was a fun experience.
That was also the year because that was Annie's year, like and Lauren, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah,
So I remember I did get to introduce Annie for hers,
hmm
and that was very special.
yes.
It was very special. Um,
I remember her asking you, and it made my heart happy.
yeah, it was very special. And that was also kind of the year I think I started to kind of, grow outside of my comfort zone.
Hmm.
And I do give a lot of that to not just you and Miss Bethany, but Annie really helped me with that. And then her RA was amazing. I like
Hmm.
was crying so
Yeah,
controllably. But yeah, that was really cool to see. And I also just remember like freshman year going back to that, experiencing the RAs for the first time and like
hmm,
hearing that was honestly really
yeah,
impactful to me. And I didn't even know some of them. Like you
right,
didn't even know like their personal stories until you heard a little bit of what it
right,
was. And that was really impactful, to hear that. And I loved going back every year to hear those stories
yeah,
and to see the new people because like even though a lot of the state officers you don't know personally, like you kind of just learn about them and like it's kind of interesting to just see how they grow too
right,
and like see their personality flourish
yeah,
and I don't know, I just kind of get like little attachments to it. I'm like, oh, well, they're so sweet. And then it's sad to see him go, and then that next group comes in and something new. I think that's a really cool process about state
really cool,
convention
really
because
cool.
they do a lot. Like they're running around 24
Yes.
7 this week.
I was thinking yesterday about my first convention experience,
Hmm.
and it's a long story. I'm not going to get into all of it, but
Yeah.
I was family friends with my ag teacher before I started before I started high school, and so before, like going into the summer after my 8th grade year, my family was like, "You gotta take ag. We know Mr. Bennett. Like, it would be great if you took ag." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll take ag." And so going into the summer, he was like, "Ryan, I know you're taking ag. Like, I want you to get started. I want you to experience some things. We go to camp or convention. Would you like to go to one of those?" And I was like, "Yeah." And so I picked camp because camp sounds fun,
Hmm.
more fun than convention. After all of these years, and this is like my 20th year in ag in FFA, I made the wrong choice. I'm a convention person. I love convention. I love taking over a hotel for a week. It's
Uh-huh.
just one of my favorite experiences. But anyway, I went to camp as a 8th grader, going into 9th grade, and 10 state officers led workshops, went around, did stuff, and like by the end of camp, which at that time was 4 days, at you met them and you became friends with them, and you're like, wow, this is really cool. And so then I went to convention after my freshman year, and those same 10
The same
people
people will be there.
were leading everything.
They were there.
And I
Yeah.
had no concept of when it starts or when it ends.
So that is actually the realest thing I've ever heard about you can't even like the way that it just works. It's like wow, like it's so cool. Like I relate to that so much because I remember when I went to leadership camp and like you see the people and then you see them again and then it's just so cool. Like it's like a
Yes.
full circle moment because you see how they grow and then like you maybe grow closer with them or you just I don't know. It's really cool.
Right.
It's really cool.
Yeah, definitely. I remember bonding over LSU football with
Yeah.
one of them, and so like when we came around to convention the next year, and he mentioned stuff, I'm like, I remember that. It was so fun.
That is really fun. Yeah.
And I was thinking about that because you're talking about RAs, and just seeing them and see it, like when you have met them, and you've seen them a little bit over the years, like you said, not even our people that are state officers, but like anybody. You're like, oh, I remember when Alex did this.
Yes,
And
like
then
it's
it comes
so
up in their
it's so
stuff.
special because like for example, like Michaela, one of the current state officers now, I actually met her my second year of convention, and when I tell you, like I remember we were kind of both in the same boat. We were both I was, a little bit more reserved. She was very shy. I could just tell
Right.
she was so sweet, but very shy, and I remember just kind of connecting with her. And now seeing her today, she has just flourished and she's such a joy. And it's really cool because I kind of saw myself in her and like it was just cool to see her grow as a person today. And like
Right.
I didn't get to hear her RA, so I'm probably gonna go back and watch
You
it.
need it.
I need to go
It
back
was
and
good.
watch it because I
was
heard
good.
little bits of it. I know
Yeah.
it was about joy, right?
Right.
But it's just full circle moment. It's just really cool to see. And the people in FFA, like yes, you do see a lot of the same people,
Mhm.
and a lot of those people are really special and you have connections through it and it's really cool to experience for yourself.
And it's something I know me and you have talked about just on like a chapter level of how close like you
You
and like the seniors and to Bethany and I, like we get so close
we do.
because of all the time we spent, but they didn't, like people that see it and they don't realize that when you were a freshman, there were 20 of you. And then when you're a sophomore, there's 10, it keeps on. And so the ones that stay the course and the ones that spend the most time, you become a family.
You do become a family.
And like everybody's family, but like it gets more of a tight-knit thing.
It is, yeah. It's very special. It's just one of those things, like I also think it came with, it's kind of it's fear it brings fear to step out of your comfort zone. Like I do think back to that, but like the more it just keeps you coming. Like I think with FFA, like you just want to stay, and that's how I felt. I was like, I do love these people. I want to get to know them more, and then we just grew. Like especially with doing like P Law, of course, like all the things we've been through together just makes our bond stronger.
Absolutely.
And I just love that because I don't think I could have found that anywhere else throughout high school.
And connecting that
Yeah.
back to the whole state, and you saw Michaela, like you start and you go to things as a freshman, and if you stay the course, those across the state that also stay the course, you'll see a smaller group of the same people the next year, and so you get to be a senior, and you see like, oh, I've seen her for 4 conventions, and I think that's a really special thing.
It is really special, yeah. Because I just love that everybody here, they just come from different walks of life and they all have different unique stories. Like I do think back, I think it was actually last year. I'm getting all my years mixed up, but I met a girl from the Elton chapter. Her name's Breanna. We had the same name. And
she was last year.
Yeah, I think that was last year. And she was just such a joy. Like we had a lot of the same interests in things. And we even sat down for lunch one day. And it's just something like that that's really special because I just feel like here everyone, they want to meet new people and they want to feel like they have a sense of belonging. And that's what FFA, I think, makes you feel like because you do have a place. You're all here for the same thing. And it's also just a week for a lot of kids, I think, to just, to just come here, enjoy it, and to get away, like, from home, whatever may be going on at home, or to just some people like this is like the biggest week of their summer. Like it's
Yep.
like
Yes.
it's something for everybody.
Right.
And I love that everybody has their own, purpose for being here, but we're all united.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for us as on the teacher side of it, it's like the final thing of our school year because it's so close to the end of
Mhm.
school, and I think it's just so cool for you as a student because we have a non-traditional ag department at Winfield. It's not, I focus on leadership and we focus on students that love to speak and want to be leaders in the future. And that's not what every chapter does. But whether your chapter focuses on that or not, when you come to convention, it's a lot of the kids that like the leadership stuff and they want to meet people and talk and become a better communicator. And so I think it's really a really good thing because at school, you might think, oh, this is for people that want to weld and people that want to
Mhm.
build birdhouses and picnic tables and
Yeah.
you want hands-on
Mhm.
stuff, but you were never a hands-on person.
I was never a hands-on person.
But you
So,
come here
but I come here.
and there's more
There's
people like
more
you.
of there's more of people that have that same drive, that same, they want to do the same things.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that a lot of people will get confused with FFA is, oh, it's this, oh, it's that. But that's the one thing I really and truly love about our chapter is we're just so supportive of it's your unique journey. Like
Mhm.
you are going after what you love, and it doesn't have to be that one thing that everyone says it is. Like you have your own special reason for being there and doing what you love. And I think that a lot of people get that mixed up. They're like, well, it's just eggs. It's just that, like, there's concepts of that and there's aspects that do those things, but that's not the one thing that we just focus on. It's like, oh, it's competitions. Oh, it's this. Like, it's connections. Like, that's the biggest thing I think I see our chapter as is it's just a family.
Mhm.
It's been a safe space for me, and I don't know, just to be myself, like just to be myself. That's the one thing that I loved about it is I don't feel like I have to be any certain way. Like I can just be
Right.
myself.
Yeah,
And I hope that
exactly.
other people feel the same way, like when they come into our chapter,
Right.
and they decide to compete or they decide to do this.
Right.
And especially with our social media too, like that's such a great opportunity for
Yeah.
people to see
Right.
what we're about. And it's just really, I love the social media part of it too. I've enjoyed all of it. So
That takes us to your third year.
yeah,
When I think it's a perfect
uh-huh,
transition because
that is true. Yeah,
that's
that's
really,
what,
I think, the start of current
uh-huh,
Breanna.
yeah, it is. It really was. I think it was too. I think it was
Yeah.
too. And I don't really know how, like, I think because we did like we really were going in with P Law that year. I remember
Mhm.
P Law and then state convention year. Like, that was a big summer.
Yeah,
That was a
it
big
was.
summer because going into senior year,
Mhm.
and it was like, I can't explain it. It was like I had a newfound, like, confidence within myself. And yes, I've still been working on it, but I think that I've really pushed myself,
Mhm.
like, little by little to, you know what, just be myself,
Right.
go out of my comfort zone. And I think that was a great year also because I got more involved with the social media stuff and just all the things started coming together.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember anything specific about last convention? I remember a couple of things, but I
Okay.
was just wondering if you wanted to start.
Well, other than, okay, I'm thinking like I met Breanna from that chapter.
So I guess you did tell that story.
Yeah, I did
So,
kind of tell
yeah.
that story. I don't know, what do you have? Because like I'm still getting all the years mixed up.
So last year would have been when Alyssa retired.
That's when Alyssa. Yep.
And so
Mhm.
that was, having state officers, it means that we go to every session.
Yeah.
They're always doing something. We always want to see our friends, our family,
Yeah.
on stage. And so I remember Alyssa, and really that's at the point I want to talk about RAs because like you talked about Annie's and that one really making an impression on you. And Alyssa, for me, it just really drove home the fact that an RA is what you make it.
It is what
Like
you make it.
it should
Yeah.
be about you.
Mhm.
It should be your style. And if everybody was the same kind of speech giver, then no one would listen to speeches.
Mhm.
And so
Yeah.
you need to bring your own personality to it because what I've always told my kids that became state officers, this is your one chance to tell 1,000 people something.
It is. It's a really like you can make such an impact. Like it touches lives.
It
Like
does.
you may not realize the gravity of that because
Yep.
like it's a big deal, you
Yep.
know.
I remember I had one that talked about she had lost her house in a fire.
Who was that?
None of
Oh, okay.
it was one of the ones from Lakeview was
Okay,
Bailey,
that
and
sounds familiar though.
it was she had lost her house in a fire, a big timber fire, a big wildfire, and she felt like that is what put her in the direction to where she was interested in forestry and trees, and it helped guide her into one of several things that helped guide her into the program. That was her story. She had went through tragedy. Sometimes the state officers haven't gone through immense tragedy. You don't need to go looking for it.
Exactly.
You know, like that's not you. And so I have read retiring addresses from nationals in the 50s and 60s. And I'm really thankful for a lot of the RAs this week have been at least hitting on, I met this member and this is what this member taught me, because retiring addresses in the 50s and 60s were from nationals, they'd be like, and then I went to Minnesota, and in Minnesota, I met this chapter, and it was a really important thing. And it was just basically covering 12 months of travel. And like, this is what I took from this.
That sounds right.
Right. And so that's kind of where we started. And now it's gotten to a thing of you shouldn't feel like you have to preach. But if that's what you're feeling, like if that's your thing, then yeah, I'm never going to have an opportunity to talk to 1,000 people. And like that's something that is awarded to very few people in life. And so you should take the opportunity. If given it, like don't cookie cutter, don't just go AI a speech.
No,
Don't
no,
chat
no.
GPT.
No, please don't.
Make it powerful.
Make it powerful. Yeah.
But yeah, that was, and so Alyssa's was, I thought, very Alyssa, and all of ours have been. But I'm just thankful that when we have these unique personalities, that they are able to showcase themselves.
Yeah, it's like especially, I'm just thinking like this week, especially like Emily and JJ, their stories that it just, because I know them so well and their stories just represented their story, like just so well. It was just so well crafted and how they just, everything was said so beautifully. Like it couldn't have been better.
I had a short lesson, like a one-day lesson that we did last year, where in class I was like, try to think of, make something, tell us one thing that you learned from something that was almost nothing. And that was not saying their stories were nothing, but it was just these one little things that you normally don't think about. She was asked to do this and she did it. And then Mimi went and did a thing at a camp that she went to for 12 years. And so like, it was just these little moments that if you don't consider the impact it had on you, it would just be another little moment.
Yep.
And we're shaped by so many little moments. And so it's important to reflect.
It is.
And think about, oh, that's the first time this happened. And I think that's really, really missing in a lot of people.
It is. And I love that you said that. That's just so important because I think that a lot of people will also get so wrapped up in the next thing.
Yes.
I'm guilty of that. I know we're all guilty of that. And like, it's just in life, you just going from one thing to the next. But like, if you just sit and reflect and like you understand the gravity of like the little steps that you're taking, the little hellos, the little whatever you're saying, little things that you're doing, it all adds up and it can shape who you are.
Yes.
And I don't know, it's just cool. Like, especially when you sit back and look at like the years that like you've been through FFA or whatever it may be, like of your life, and you just see like the little things, like how big they actually were, you know?
Yeah, and you just hinted at something that I really think is important to say here is that, we do all this through FFA. We are only together because of this organization, but when you join something, you should go in completely, and you should want to make the most of it. You are granted so many opportunities in life, you can't say yes to all of them. And so the ones that you do choose, just go in completely, because if you wouldn't have taken opportunities and you would never ran for office, then you would have never went to state convention.
Yeah.
But you took that opportunity, and you weren't chasing 1,000 opportunities. You're like, this seems interesting.
Yeah.
And I've told you this, I think that like a month or so ago, like when you went through nominating committee the first year, your freshman year,
Oh my gosh.
and you were such a quiet soul.
Uh-huh.
You know, you didn't talk a lot in class or anything.
Yeah.
And I was so thankful you wanted to run for office. And when we got the feedback, they were like, she was one of the best interviews. She
That actually, like, hearing that is so crazy.
They were like, that girl, she was so precious. She made
That's
such
like,
an impact
that's
on
crazy.
us.
I don't know, like, sometimes I wish I could go give my little freshman self a hug, because like I don't know what was like. I'm just happy for growth, because that's crazy. Like, I just wish I could have just let myself just have confidence and just,
Yeah.
but I'm giving myself grace. Like, I know
Yeah,
that,
give yourself
but
grace.
I don't know. It's just like I wish I could go back and be like, it's okay, Breanna. Like, just try it. Like, and I did try it, but
Yeah.
like, just do, and that's crazy to think about and look back on.
But you made choices that you need to make.
I think I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you didn't go through the things that you would have went through, well, then your choices wouldn't have mattered.
That's good. Yeah, that's really good.
So, unfortunately, that brings us to this year.
Yeah, it does.
And so, your senior convention, and I know we've talked about the RAs, and we
Yeah.
talked a little, we've hinted around, and last night you were able to talk to Bella, and
Yeah.
this is not in any particular release order, because I don't know if you know this, the hotel Wi-Fi is bad.
Yeah.
So last night I put the RAs to upload, and I went to bed, and I don't know how long it took, but it took at least 4 hours. So it was kind of like putting a roast in the oven. I just put it in, and I went
Yeah.
and took a nap. So I have no idea when this is going to get released, but
Yeah, it's okay.
you spoke to Bella. We hope to speak to especially some of the
younger
students.
kids, yeah.
But just kind of your thoughts now that you're more in you've always been in a leadership role, but I feel like it's more of
yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I was telling Bella, it's really been cool to have such younger members with us this week, because I'm watching them experience it for the first time.
Right.
And I don't know, it also just makes me think back to like when I was in their position, and how I just longed for that older person to, seek me out and have a friend with them. And I think that it's been really just interesting to watch, what they do and how they react to things, like what they're doing, and just to be like a role model for them that they're hopefully one day going to be to the younger members. And it's cool to just see their journey start, and I hope that all of them continue along
Right.
this path. And I've just, you kind of grow closer with them, because you're with each other for this week, and you kind of just you learn more about them, and that's really interesting, and just more about their personalities. And
Yeah.
it does make me excited for them to go into high school, and like I said, to continue their FFA journey, because I mean, it only gets better from here if they just keep saying yes and they
Right.
keep trying, and hopefully they'll keep coming back with y'all.
Hopefully so.
Yeah.
It was a year to be younger. We've just lost your senior class, and that's a hit for me on many levels. But I think the freshman class we just had, I think, is very special, and we have a few of those here this week, and we've had, starting with the middle school students and what Bethany's doing there. I think the agri-science fair thing is a really cool way to get involved.
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, and it's something where it's a competition, but you're on your own timeline. Like you just had a deadline, but you got to do everything ahead of time, and so it's unique to the competitive things that we've done in the past. And I think it's, to one of your earlier points, finding your own thing.
Finding your own thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so I'm glad we're able to, you know, some people just want to be on a computer researching for hours and that be what they're into. And so we have a couple of different ways to do that, in addition to 1,000 of other opportunities that we have. And we're always trying to find new things because everybody's different.
Yep. Just need to find what's for you.
Yeah. So as we've had 3 sessions. We'll have a session this afternoon, a session tomorrow. So you are 60% done through sessions, and I don't know, it's just kind of crazy.
It is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I don't really want to think about it because I know it's going to hit me.
Yeah. I will say that we've done it different ways, but I'm thankful that both RAs were yesterday.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. It's like, it's not fun in a way that, you know, it was compacting tears yesterday.
It was,
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
And
But the beauty of all of it is that we got to experience it. We got to see all of it. We were there the whole time.
Yeah.
And I like what you said, keep saying yes. And like, it should be what you want. You know, if you think this interests you, say yes. If it doesn't, say no.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking to some teachers yesterday about, you know, struggles that they have, like getting kids to convention, and, you know, a lot of times problems aren't unique. You know, it's kind of just an issue, and issue of kids wanting to spend 4 days away from home, and you know, whatever that entails for that particular kid, whether it be missing practices or games, or missing, you know, Minecraft time, or you know, whatever.
Some people need that Minecraft time.
But whatever it
That's
takes.
fine.
Yeah,
That's fine.
whatever. But as they're doing all of that, you know, this is basically a reward trip. State convention exists to highlight the programs that the FFA offers, and to highlight the best of, you know, competition, and the best of leadership, and the best of all this, and highlighting the things that FFA does throughout the year. And so I've always felt like we don't take a reward trip like some groups do, and we don't, you know, go to Houston and see a play, or, you know, we don't have those kinds of trips in FFA. But convention is kind of one of those times where we've worked so hard for the year. We get to go be together for a week. We've had very few times over your 4 years where it was negative interactions, making it where you had like you were homesick the first year, but like you said, you were young.
But I was young. I was getting adjusted.
Yeah.
And I also think the homesickness, I don't know, it was just personal things, and I was just struggling. And then like once the next year came, like obviously I had a little bit more growth, and I was more comfortable around everybody, getting to know everybody, you know.
But, and what I'm saying is, it wasn't things that were happening to you here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
And so I think for everybody, and you know, different people are different ways, but for the most part, we don't really have issues when we go off places, especially like internal conflict type stuff.
It's always fun. Yeah. We always, I don't know, it's just something about it. I feel like it's just, like, yes, it is. It can be stressful for people, and it can be a long week, but no, I feel like the atmosphere, it's just, it's enjoyable, and it's cool. It's just an amazing experience. So.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. So I think that's our 4 years.
I think that's our 4 years. Yeah.
4 years and however many minutes this was.
Yeah.
Bree, this was so much fun.
It was so much fun. It was. And I don't want to get like too sappy, because we may just need to cut the cameras. But yeah, it's been great. And I don't really want to say anything else, because but it's been great. I love FFA.
Yeah. So thank you for allowing me to talk to you.
Thank you for allowing me to talk with you.
This has been a joy, and I mean this in the video and everything else.
Mhm.
It's been a joy. So
It's been a joy for me too.
thank you, Bree.
Yay, that was good.
It's fun.
That was fun.